You ever have that feeling in your career? Like you're stuck, maintaining old tech while everyone else is off playing with the shiny new stuff? It's a pretty common feeling, actually. Well, today, we're going to look at a story about a developer who found a really surprising way to jump from a programming language that's over 60 years old straight to the cutting edge of AI. And their journey just might change how you look at your own career.
Man, this quote from a developer on Reddit, it just perfectly captures that feeling of burnout, right? After spending years working with COBOL, and this is a language that still runs huge chunks of our banks and healthcare systems, they just felt trapped. Sure, the skills were in demand for certain jobs, but it wasn't the fun, creative work they wanted to do. It was a career built on legacy tech, and it felt like a total dead end.
But here's the thing. This isn't just one person's story. That feeling of being trapped, it's actually part of a much bigger problem in the industry, one that affects not just people like our developer, but also the huge companies that depend on these old systems. And this is the other side of that coin, the business perspective. A paper from IBM Research actually highlights this exact issue. So while our developer is feeling stuck, big companies are kind of freaking out because they can't find enough people to maintain these critical COBOL apps. It's this classic two-sided problem created by a shrinking talent pool.
And this, right here, just lays out the frustration perfectly. On the left, you've got the reality of the job, maintenance, support, endless documentation. And on the right, you've got the dream, building cool new things with modern languages like Java or Python. That gap in the middle, that's where burnout happens. They wanted to move forward, but it felt like their resume just kept pulling them back into the past.
So what's the escape plan? For a lot of people, the obvious answer seems to be, well, just ditch the old skills and start over, right? But what if that's not the whole story? What if the solution isn't about running away from the past, but actually rewriting it? And this is where the story takes a huge turn. Instead of thinking of AI as just another new thing you have to learn, what if it was a tool that could fundamentally change the old work itself? What if AI wasn't just the destination, but the bridge to get there?
And here it is, the answer straight from that same IBM paper. The very same technology our developer was dreaming about, generative AI, is now good enough to automatically translate that old COBOL code into modern Java. This is the whole point. AI isn't just a threat to old jobs, it's this incredible tool for modernization. And that creates a brand new opportunity for people who have that deep legacy knowledge.
Okay, so if you're that developer, this is super exciting news. But let's be real. Where in the world do you even start? The AI field is packed with jargon. So let's just break down a few of the absolute essentials you'd need to know to make this kind of jump.
First up, generative AI itself. Just think of it like a creation engine. It doesn't just analyze data that already exists. It can actually generate brand new stuff, like the Java code we were just talking about. It basically learns from trillions of examples and gets really good at predicting what should come next, whether that's the next word in a sentence or the next line of code.
Okay, next up, embeddings. This sounds complicated, but it's basically how an AI understands meaning, not just words. It turns text into a long list of numbers, a vector, that captures the context. This is the magic behind semantic search. It's why you can search for a concept like unhappy customer and find reviews that say things like, I was so frustrated, or this was a disappointing experience, even though they don't contain your exact keywords.
And that brings us to something called RAG. This is an absolute game changer for making AI reliable. You know how AI can sometimes just make stuff up? We call those hallucinations. Well, RAG is the fix. Instead of letting the AI just guess an answer from its giant brain, you first tell it to go retrieve the facts from a source you trust, like your company's own documents. Then, it has to generate an answer based only on those facts. It cuts down on errors dramatically. And the process is actually beautiful in its simplicity. It's just 3 steps. First, you retrieve the right info using that meaning-based search we just talked about. Second, you augment the user's question by stuffing that info right into the prompt. And finally, you tell the model to generate an answer using only the context you just gave it. Retrieve, augment, generate. That's the whole trick.
All right, so knowing the concepts is one thing, but turning that knowledge into a new career, that takes a plan. The good news is you don't have to learn everything all at once. A step-by-step approach makes it all feel way more manageable.
And this is a perfect example of what that kind of path can look like. You start with the foundations, maybe build a simple little script that uses embeddings. Then you level up and focus on prompting to get the AI to give you exactly what you want. After that, you're ready to build a real RAG system, like a chat with your documents app. And finally, you learn how to turn that prototype into a real-world, production-ready application. See?
Each phase has a clear goal and something real you can show off.
And getting started doesn't mean you have to build some giant, complex system. I mean, look at these ideas. A tool that rewrites your resume bullets to make them sound better. A script that turns your messy meeting notes into a clean list of action items. These are fantastic. They're small, practical projects you can actually finish, and they prove you get the core concepts.
Now, building projects is absolutely key. But let's be real. In a competitive job market, a good certification can definitely help get your resume to the top of the pile. But you have to be smart about it, because not all of them are created equal.
So here are 3 really solid options. For someone switching careers, that IBM AI engineering certificate is a fantastic starting point. It's affordable, it's very project-focused, and it has a great reputation. Now, if you know you're targeting a company that's all in on Google Cloud or AWS, then yeah, their specialized machine learning certs are highly respected and can lead directly to some high-paying jobs. The key is just to pick the one that lines up with your goals and your budget.
But you gotta wonder, does a structured path like this actually lead to a job? Well, for that IBM certification we just talked about, the data is pretty compelling, 87%. That's the number of people who land a job in an AI-related role within just 3 months of finishing the program. That's incredible. It just goes to show you that reinventing your career isn't some crazy long shot. It's actually a pretty well-worn path with a really high success rate, as long as you follow a clear, project-based plan.
So what started out as a story about feeling burnt out and obsolete has turned into a story about incredible opportunity. The skills you have right now, even in technologies that people call outdated, they're not wasted, not at all. They're your foundation. And when you combine that deep domain knowledge with the new tools of AI, you don't just get a new job. You become the bridge between the past and the future. So the only question left is, what are you going to build next?